Today we are going to be going over our MRI Plus information for the hotel industry. The MRI data gives important information such as the market penetration, index, and percent of users within the segment of the product. In the hotel industry, Holiday Inn will be our focal brand, and we will be comparing all the demographic variables from MRI Plus with Hilton and Motel 6. This table here gives the spread between the high and low index values for 8 demographic variables that are important to the hotel industry. The higher the spread value, the more likely we are to use a demographic variable. With this data, it is interesting to note that all 3 of the hotels are using race and household income as demographic variables. With this, we can see many differences within the hotel's target markets. This table shows Holiday Inn's top 10 demographic segments with the highest product users in comparison with the same segments of Hilton and Motel 6. The segment with the highest product users is homeowners at 79.3%. Hilton has a similar value for guests that are homeowners at 79.2%, and at around 20% or so less, 62% of people that stay at the Motel 6 own a home. The first demographic variable we'll be looking at is race. There's a high percentage of Holiday Inn guests that are white within the race demographic variable at 76.5%. This value is similar to both Hilton's, which is at 82.8%, and Motel 6, which is at 71.1%. Of guests from the same race segment. 10.4% of Holiday Inn guests are African American. While examining the bar chart below, one may determine that hotel guests are predominantly white that stay at each hotel compared to any other race. The differences in the indices can be contributed to the percentage of the population, education, income, preferences to luxury goods, and money spending habits. An interesting note is that 10.4% of Holiday Inn guests are African American. Whites are neutral towards the Holiday Inn, and Asians are positive towards all 3. They are 104% more likely to visit the Holiday Inn, 37% more likely to visit the Hilton, and 22% more likely to visit a Motel 6. For education, on the other hand, 38.6% of Holiday Inn guests have graduated College Plus, compared to over half of Hilton's guests at 55%. Only 24.6% of Motel 6's guests have gone beyond a college degree. For the Holiday Inn, the segments graduated college and postgraduate are around 40% more likely to visit it. The least likely to patron a Holiday Inn is the did not graduate high school segment with a 33% less likelihood of visiting it. Graduated College Plus and postgraduate have the highest percent for the Hilton with 103% more likelihood and 104% more likelihood respectively. The table to the left shows the top 3 highest product user segments within the household income variable for the Holiday Inn. 38.6% of all hotel guests at Holiday Inn make between $75,000 and $149,000 a year. 46.2% of guests at Hilton are in the same segment, and a much lower percent of guests at Motel 6 have the same HHI at 23.9%. The Hilton has more guests in higher household income segments than Holiday Inn and Motel 6. Income is pretty straightforward because the amount you have largely influences the amount you will spend. The 3 hotels are in 3 different point categories. Hilton, being the most expensive, descends evenly as household income is lower. Holiday Inn comes in second place for the top 2 household income levels with 35% and 7% more likely respectively, and number 1 in the third household income level with 22% more likely. From there, the less likelihood grows. The values for product users within each census region segment are similar for each of the hotels. The segment with the highest amount of guests that stay at Holiday Inn is the South region, at 35.4%. Similarly, the other 2 hotels are right around that range of around 32% for Motel 6 and about 36% for Hilton guests. People that are from the Midwest region are more likely to stay at the Holiday Inn, with 29.9% of guests from that region. 38.1% of motel guests are in the West Census region compared to a much lower 20.9% of Holiday Inn guests from the same region. Regions are influenced by familiarity of the establishment, advertising, cultural norms, as well as availability of locations. People from the West are only 9% less likely to use a Holiday Inn. The Midwest is 36% more likely to use a Holiday Inn. The Northeast is about 25% less likely to use a Holiday Inn, and the South is about 4% less likely to use a Holiday Inn. Now for marital status. Examining the marital status demographic variable for each of the hotels, one may come to the conclusion that over half of all the guests for each hotel are currently married, 61.1% of all Holiday Inn guests, and Hilton has the highest married people staying with them at 66.9%. The never married segment and the now married segment are mirrored in usage. Never married are 25% more likely to use a Motel 6 and 1% more likely to use a Holiday Inn. Now married are 21% more likely to use a Hilton and 11% more likely to use a Holiday Inn. This could be largely due to combined income and preferences based on gender and age. The engaged segment is 25% more likely to use a Holiday Inn, which is the highest in that segment. The segment engaged is a category with a relatively short time span, as people do not stay engaged for more than a few years. This would make it a small and concentrated segment. There also could be some overlap with the data, as people usually book the hotel as being engaged and then use it for their honeymoon when they are newly married. Widowed, divorced, or separated are less likely to use any of the hotel indices. Mass marketing is a marketing strategy to use to target a large group of product users. For mass marketing, the three demographic segments that we will market to are those who graduated College Plus, with a household income of $75,000 to $149,000, and have a home value of $200,000 to $499,000. These people are classified as lower upper class consumers. For niche marketing, on the other hand, we will target upper class demographic. The upper class demographic will include consumers who have a household income over $150,000, are postgraduates, and have an occupation in management, business, and financial operations. So based on this information, we're going to have Holiday Inn moving up to be a high-end hotel. Now we'll look at three mass marketing media vehicles, which are internet, television, and magazines. With this, it is interesting to note that MapQuest, Wikipedia, Google Maps, Gmail, and ESPN are the highest on the list for the websites. For TV, we have MSNBC and ESPN News. For magazines, we have Time and Sports Illustrated. For niche marketing, we're going to kind of zone in a little bit more, and we're going to look at the same media vehicles. The magazines are the most interesting media vehicles for niche marketing. They have the highest indices, and the types of magazines seem to match the lifestyle of our niche marketing demographic. That concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.